Welcome into the morning after. Dubs Essen here filling in for my main man, Benny Stevens. Football is back. It is Friday and we're going to cash some fat tickets. I mean, how good is it to have a bit of football back? Preseason last night, a couple of games, 5 more coming at us this afternoon. The golf, it's playoff golf. Your boy was out there in Memphis this week for the FedEx St. Jude. And I've got to tell a story. I mean, obviously Dubsy knew that Elvis was from Memphis, but I didn't know that they had the Elvis Presley week going on whilst I was there. Anyway, I'm out at a bar, and there's a Kiwi gentleman. Of course, a Kiwi comes and sits next to an Aussie at the bar. I'm like, mate, what are you doing here? He's like, well, I'm here, for the Elvis convention. I'm an impersonator. And of course he is. He's got these big, thick mutton chops on the side of his face. And I ask him, mate, are you any good? And of course, Aussies, Kiwis, we don't get along at the best of times. He goes, oh, well, mate, I'm the best back in New Zealand. I'm the top impersonator. I asked him, mate, how many Elvis impersonators are there back in New Zealand? He didn't like it too kindly. He told me there's a sellout concert Wednesday night. I went past the concert. It looked like the 9 Wine and Dine for the Old Country Club, over 80s only. But your boy had a very good week out there in Memphis. We're going to talk about the golf tournament a little later. The FedEx St. Jude getting underway. Siwoo Kim and JJ Spawn up top of that leaderboard. But plenty going on in the world of sports. People keep complaining the dog days of summer. Relax. I mean, did you see the Field of Dreams last night there for the baseball over in Iowa? 7,800 fans. This is what makes baseball so special. Just stripped back to its purest form. Dubsy was all about that one. But hey, as we touched on, the football is back, baby. A couple of games there last night. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were fantastic. 23-10. When I say fantastic, that may be a little generous. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry did not play for their respective teams. But again, two young quarterbacks, both looked pretty decent there last night. When we're talking about leading in the old stats department, Malik Willis for Tennessee there, what do you go, 6-11, 107 yards. Tyler Huntley for Baltimore was fantastic. Let's talk about some of these young quarterbacks. The rookie QB there for the Titans, Malik Willis, third-round pick from Liberty. He went 6 of 11 for 107 yards, ran there for 38, and he showed some real wheels. He showed some good instincts out there. He ran in for a great little touchdown. He's a good dual-threat athlete, but again, this is against weaker opponents. You've got to keep in mind the preseason football. These guys are going against second-string, third-string, absolute duds, if you will, but I like what I saw from Malik Willis. Plenty of upside there for him. He's still got to prove himself at this level. But for Baltimore, I think the big revelation, and this is no secret, Tyler Huntley, former Utah Utes, he's been fantastic with every opportunity he's got there when Lamar Jackson has had to step aside. We saw it there last season. We saw it again last night. 16 of 18 for 110 yards, a touchdown there in the first half. He looks really good. Every opportunity he gets, he makes it a winner. Third season in the league. I think he could be a starter if he went elsewhere. He's that good. And look, when we talk about preseason betting, I'm a sucker for it. I see these low winning totals, 30, 35. So your boy has to get involved with it. But you've got to know who's at quarterback, what is the upside, and who's coaching. I mean, we look at the Baltimore Ravens here. They have not lost a preseason fixture since 2015. What does that tell us? Have they got the most depth in the league? No, certainly not. But some of these coaches, it means a lot to show the locker room we're about winning. It's a winning culture. But again, it's preseason football. You've got to be cautious with it. We welcome in our radio listeners, Channel 159 from Sirius XM. This is the morning after. And yes, it's not Ben Stevens. It is Dubs Anderson. I've still got that West Coast slang to me. You know what I'm saying. We're talking a little football from last night. The Ravens are far too good for the Titans, 23-10. Getting a win up there. Tyler Huntley, the standout performer for me. Anthony Brown also got some reps in there at QB. He looked decent, but the AFC, it's where it's all at, baby. Couple of big storylines shaping up this week. I mean, I can't believe they continue to do my Miami Dolphins like this. Poor Tua. I mean, every day there's new video surfacing on social media about him throwing complete pies, landing to no one. Everyone is hyping up the Bills, plus 350. Would you relax? The Chiefs there at 5-1. The Broncos, yeah, they've got my attention. And what about the Ravens? Was what we saw last night enough to get involved from 10-1? No, it's preseason football. Behave, go and relax. And what about the rivalry? The Patriots taking on the Giants there last night. Another great game. This was actually a thriller, a little bit more exciting to watch. The Giants win 23-21 with a late field goal over the Patriots. Graham Gano hit the 24-year-old field goal winner as time was expiring. Again, there was no Mac Jones out there. We saw some decent plays, but for me, the Giants win the match. Isotopes win a game. I really question how much success they're going to have this season. What about Mac Jones? Why is he not out there getting reps? I mean, is he that good? Is he Tom Brady? Should we put him in bubble wrap and save him for the season? No. And who's calling the plays out there? Bill Belichick, make a decision, my man. We need a bit of focus in that locker room. We saw again there last night. Matt Patricia called some. Joe Judge called some. These guys, they need a bit of focus. But again, great victory there. The Giants get the preseason win over the Patriots, old Super Bowl rivals, if you will. And look, plenty of baseball coming up. We got to touch on the Field of Dreams, a bit of golf talk. But again, we got to get my man Mike Blewitt in here to break it all down from last night, what he expected. I mean, maybe Mike can tell Dubsy, am I off the mark here? Preseason football. Let us know. Do you get involved with it? Are you back in winners? Hit us up on social media. This is the morning after. Happy Friday, baby. Let's back some winners. Let's go.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-450-0515. 1-800-450-0515.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched over 1,200 annuities and summarized the rates and benefits of annuities from financially strong insurers. Again, that's Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free, for calling Annuity General today. Supplies are limited. Call now.
Call 800-830-7360. That's 800-830-7360.
Attention! Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for the IRS Fresh Start program, so you won't have to make any payments to the IRS. That's right. If you qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start program, you won't make any IRS payments once you are accepted. Once you are in the IRS Fresh Start program, they must stop all harassing and threatening collection activities. Call Tax Relief today now at 800-382-1870 to see if you qualify. Again, 800-382-1870.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions, and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate, take that first step and call now.
Some of them with some of their own.
Welcome back into the morning after. I'm Dubs S, and now joined by lead NFL analyst Mike Blewitt. Mike, great to have you on the show here on a Friday morning, and great to have football back. Last night, the Ravens beating out the Titans 23-10. Preseason football, thumbs up, thumbs down. What'd you think of the game?
Fired up, Dubsy. Obviously, good to see you. Good to be here with you. But I would say that in general, there's only so much you can learn from preseason. It's obviously fun to fire off some bets, and good to see some players. But I don't want people to overestimate what you can learn from preseason. I think you're looking for some macro things. Malik Willis looked pretty good at times. Bailey Zappi for the Pats got a lot of reps in there, but underthrowing a lot of balls. I don't think in their first live NFL action, I don't think you can judge them too harshly one way or the other. I thought one learning from the Ravens game, and not just that they can't ever seem to lose a preseason game, but also the Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley, and now Anthony Brown being the depth chart of quarterback, I think should dispel any notions that they're going to switch it up at any point. I think it's a good thing that they are committed to the style in which Lamar plays. It doesn't mean everybody has to be exactly like him. Clearly, very few, if any, are. But I think that's something that you can take away from the game, and the fact that John Harbaugh takes these preseason games more seriously than maybe any other coach in NFL history.
Yeah, he does. What'd you make of Tyler Huntley? I mean, he's had a couple of starts in the league now. His third season there for the Ravens. I mean, he looked good, but again, it wasn't up against a strong defense. Men taking on the boys there, but plenty of positives. 16 of 18 for 110 yards, runs in there for a touchdown. What'd you think?
No doubt that he played well. I would caution the optimism for one reason. You are very often just playing against base defenses in the preseason. They are not using the entirety of the playbook for a variety of reasons. One, they're trying to keep some things close to the vest. Two, they don't even have their ones in there for a lot of time. And three, they're not even sure if some of the guys who we are watching, which won't even be on the roster, can execute the playbook. I think there's a variety of reasons there that you don't see it. But Tyler Huntley now has a lot of NFL experience relative to some other backup quarterbacks. He's had live action in a number of games, and he was a good prospect coming out. I think he's landed in a really good spot. It doesn't mean that he's ever going to start over Lamar, but I think people will consider Tyler Huntley as a really unique backup quarterback for years to come, although he's probably more valuable to the Ravens than any other team.
Yeah, that's it's like when Dubsy fills in for Ben Stevens on a Friday morning, Mike. Just a great backup, Maybe he can get the win for the Friday morning slot, but let's temper temptations there. Mate, talk to me about Lamar Jackson. What's going on with his contract talks? We know he represents himself in that department. He doesn't seem to be putting a lot of pressure on the Ravens to get something sorted. No surprises that he did not play there last night.
Yeah, so I spoke about this with George Kurtz on Football Full Circle earlier this week, and you can catch us again on Sunday from 10 to 12 Eastern. What I would say is that there is a reason that players have agents. To go into this point in his career, just coming off an injury, and just trust the process will work out for you is the primary reason that you have an agent who can, without you having to do it, put pressure on the team relative to the marketplace and get you a new contract. Lamar could very well break the bank, but for Kyler Murray to have a long-term extension before Lamar does is embarrassing for Lamar. Lamar's won an MVP. He's been successful. There are people out there that are always going to hate on Lamar, and they're not sure if he's a good enough passer to win a Super Bowl. Understood. But there's other guys getting extensions that are not as talented as Lamar is. So that is why you hire an agent. I appreciate that he trusts the Ravens and they trust him back, but this is not fun and games. This is the guy's livelihood, and he's got a $250 million or much more payday that he deserves. Right now, he's earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Ravens, they're 10-1 to take out the AFC. What is the landscape looking for them? Say Lamar does get the bag, or whether or not he does, I mean, he's going to be there week one. Has he got enough weapons to actually make them a genuine contender in the AFC there, Mike?
I think there's always an opportunity with Lamar on the field for them to rip off a couple of games and get on a good run. My concern with the Ravens last year was, first of all, their entire defensive backfield got hurt and their quarterback was out. So, yeah, they fell apart at the end of the year. But my concern for them as a team during the year is that they had not been as strong up front as they had in previous seasons. Ronnie Stanley got hurt. He was out. So their rash of injuries is really what did them in. But I do wonder if their offensive and defensive lines, where they have historically been really good, are as strong as they have been in years past. It's how Harbaugh likes to win games. They're obviously amazing on special teams due to John Harbaugh's experience in coaching it. But I do have concerns about how strong they are up front. And you raise a really good point about their weapons. I'm never going to be worried about their rushing offense. I think they're talented enough there. They have enough bodies there. But can Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews really carry the load of that team? They're going to be run heavy for obvious reasons, but can those guys start to make big plays? I like Bateman more than I like Brown as a number one wide receiver personally, but that obviously has to be proven on the field.
Yeah, turning it to the Titans side of the ball, rookie QB there, Malik Willis. He looked pretty good last night. I mean, he showed glimpses of what he's capable for. He went one way, bounced at the air, runs in a great touchdown, dual threat athlete of your will. What'd you make of Malik Willis's performance?
I think he's got a long way to go to prove to a lot of people that he could belong here. He played in a program in college with not a lot of talent on his roster. His offensive line used to get beat up. He was forced to do a lot of things in college, which can create bad habits for a young player. Now, I don't necessarily think he has those. I think he's really talented. He's not that big, but he's obviously an amazing athlete, and he's got a cannon for an arm. He isn't going to get a shot right away, but I do think he is in a pretty unique position, Dubs, in terms of the league. When you start taking all the starting quarterbacks and you start mapping out what their trajectory looks like on their team, they're not committed to Tannehill for like the next 5 years. They would be looking at moving on Tannehill pretty quickly if he doesn't play up to expectations. And that could give Malik Willis, despite him being a mid-round draft pick, an actual opportunity at succeeding Ryan Tannehill. So for all of the issues that the Titans have gone through this offseason, losing A.J. Brown, the long-term path for Malik Willis could be really interesting if he's able to keep playing with the dynamic style that he played with last evening.
Yeah, and to put it simply, if you're not great in the preseason, you ain't great. This is a time where you should be really standing out if you've got that promised potential, if you want to make it in the league. The second game we saw there last night, the Giants beating out the Patriots 23-21. Not a bad game. At least it came down to the wire for this one. What did you make of this one, Mike? Can we have a bit of optimism towards the Giants?
I give Brian Dable a lot of credit. He's going to step in here with this job, and he's got a lot to do in order to try to turn this team around. They played their ones last night. Daniel Jones was out there. He goes 6 of 10 for 69 yards. A lot of this team's success is going to be about keeping Daniel Jones upright, keeping him clean. I think they added some good pieces during the offseason, but collectively, I still think the Giants have a long way to go. Could be interesting offensively if Dable can take some of the same concepts from Buffalo and apply them here. I still think they have a long way to go to raise the talent level on this team and play better defensively.
Yeah, no, I got you. And before we hit the break there, Mac Jones, he was suited up, didn't get a start. Is that the right thing for the preseason, Mike? Sit these star players?
They have the Panthers coming in on Monday, so Mac will get plenty of live reps all during practice and the game next week.
Love it. Keep it right here the morning after. Plenty more football talk when we come back.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-810-7576. That's 1-800-810-7576 now.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services. Attention. From 1953 to 1987, veterans and civilians were potentially exposed to toxic chemicals in the drinking water at Camp Lejeune. Exposure to these chemicals increases the risk for cancer and other health problems. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with a serious illness after being exposed to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune, you may be entitled to compensation.
Call Sokolov Law now at 1-800-327-4629. That's 1-800-327-4629.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, and batteries never need charging.
I was having a stroke, and I was scared to death.
If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Life Alert is a lifesaver.
My husband is alive because of Life Alert.
Life Alert is the lifesaver to keep me out of assisted living.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-609-5506. That's 1-800-609-5506. Call now. 1-800-609-5506.
Attention! Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for the IRS Fresh Start program, so you won't have to make any payments to the IRS. That's right. If you qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start program, you won't make any IRS payments once you are accepted. Once you are in the IRS Fresh Start program, they must stop all harassing and threatening collection activities. Call Tax Relief today now at 800-382-1870 to see if you qualify. Again, 800-382-1870.
Welcome back into the morning after. Dubs Essen filling in for Benny Stevens. I got my main man, Mike Blewitt, with us this morning, breaking down all things preseason football. We just recapped last night's games. And Mike, lucky enough for all the punters at home, we got 5 more games coming up here this afternoon to get involved with. I still can't decide if I enjoy betting preseason football. I feel like you can make a lot of money over the next couple of weeks, or you could really lose it in a hurry if you don't know what you're doing, but you're really going to be clued on who's going out there, who's playing for what, who they're going up against. And like we saw with the Ravens, if you've got a coach who really cares about winning preseason games, maybe that's the team to ride. But tonight, we got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Two of the, two teams looking for a bit of upside this season. Let's hope Deshaun Watson is looking for a massage chair or something. I mean, this guy's just an absolute madman. What can we make of tonight's game there? The Browns -120 favorites.
So what I would say is I think you raised a really good point about paying attention as to who's going to be out there. It is very likely tonight we finally see Trevor Lawrence. We'll get some other guys out there and the Jaguars can run the real offense. That Hall of Fame game, I know it's fun for us to kick off the season, but we very rarely see any impact players play in that game. I know the Raiders use guys like Josh Jacobs and others, but the Jaguars are like, we're not doing this. We're not putting Trevor Lawrence out here for an extra game. So I think you'll see him tonight. It'll be fun to see how he's doing in the Doug Peterson offense and those concepts and running that. For the Browns, similarly, it depends who's going to be out there. This is their first game. I think the Jaguars are going to want to make sure that they're lining up their ones against the other team's ones. But I think the Jaguars are interesting tonight because we know Lawrence is going to be out there. Again, keep in mind who is playing for the Browns and who's not. They'll probably rest their running backs and other key players. So I'm not a person that's likely to pick the Jaguars a lot during the season, but give me the 1.5 here, maybe a little bit on the money line if you're going to bet this game. Again, I'm not a huge preseason bettor, but there are times when you can get edges. And I think if you got Trevor Lawrence out there and the Browns are just trying to mix it up in their first game out there, that gives them an edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, projected total 37.5. That's actually quite high for some of these preseason games. Yeah. That's definitely one way I look to get involved. Mate, what do you make of the quarterback situation there for the Browns, and what is coming to Sean Watson's way once we get the suspension handed down?
Yeah, so obviously we know it's 6 games. I like many others, expect it to be extended to how long? I'm not really sure. Is it 12 games? Is it the full season? That remains to be seen. But we see again yesterday and the day before those Jimmy Garoppolo to Cleveland rumors start to creep back up. And I do think it's a real possibility for this reason. The Browns still have the most salary cap room left in the entire NFL, almost $48 million for this season. Next season, the Browns are underwater, $32 million over the cap. Obviously, they'll fix that via extensions and cutting various players, but the Browns are not going to have a big free agency spend next year. But Jimmy G is a one and done. He's under contract right now. Is it a release and then sign him at a discounted rate? I don't know, but the Browns have the money right now in order to fit him under the salary cap. And why mess around with a team that everybody thinks is really talented and thinks could even challenge for big things if Deshaun Watson is under there? Jimmy G has gotten a team to 2 separate NFC championship games, including a Super Bowl, nearly winning that Super Bowl. And I think he would be a really interesting piece versus Jacoby Brissett, who many people think, well, all right, we'll be fine. We'll win a few games. But can you really challenge with Jacoby Brissett? Jimmy can make it far more likely that you can advance through the playoffs than Jacoby Brissett, at least in my estimation. I don't think there's a world of difference, but I think there's enough of a difference that you should take the chance at the more experienced player.
Yeah, and again, the Browns are favorites there tonight, minus 120 playing over in Jacksonville. Let's turn it to game 2. Atlanta taking on Detroit. Now, everyone's talking about Detroit. Yes, Hard Knocks has really showcased them. Head coach Dan Campbell. I mean, a lot to like about this guy. I mean, Hutchinson's up there singing. Jamal Williams, he has got to be one of the funniest guys in the league, but showing plenty of raw emotion. I like to root for Detroit. I think my boy Jared Goff was hard done by, once he got sent out of LA. We look at the odds here. It's a pick 'em. Falcons up against the Lions this afternoon. Projected total 35.5. That's decent. What do you make of this one? And have you checked out Detroit in action over at the training camp there, Mike?
I did. I watched the Hard Knocks. I think Dan Campbell's attitude has reinvigorated people's interest in the show. I think there's a lot of talk about biting kneecaps and grit and beating up your opponent and never giving up. It's fun, right? That he has a lot of fun with it. I think what's also really a lot of fun is that this coaching staff is unique. There are plenty of former players on coaching staffs, but we have really notable players on this coaching staff. Aaron Glenn was an awesome player. Deuce Staley was a really good running back. Kelvin Shepard was a legit linebacker. You have guys with a lot of experience and players with a profile. Mark Brunell was a good quarterback for a long time, got to championship games in this league. So seeing those players again is a little bit of a throwback, at least for me. For some of the younger audience, they're like, who's Aaron Glenn? Maybe. But it is a lot of fun. And to see those two offensive and defensive coordinators getting after each other and trash talking is a lot of fun. As far as this game is concerned, I'm actually more interested to see what the Falcons will do here. Arthur Smith running an offense with Mariota and or Des Ridder, and I think Desmond Ridder will see a lot of snaps tonight, is what I'm looking for more than anything else in this game. The Falcons are just in a tough position. They are in the process of spinning out this roster to get to the bottom before they build it back up. You don't just give away Matt Ryan and let some of the players walk that they've let walk over the course of the last year and say that you're really trying to compete. They're building this from the ground up. Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, the general manager, have long-term deals, which will allow them to do that. I consider Arthur Blank to be a really good and patient owner. So if they have a rough season this year, I don't think it spells doom for anybody in that staff on the executive or coaching level. But I do think Arthur Smith has some really interesting concepts. That team went 7-10 last year, and they are a bad football team, and they still went 7-10. I thought it was miraculous. Matt Ryan got killed last year, often. So those 3 number 1 picks on the offensive line need to start playing like their former number 1 picks and protect Mariota and Ritter. And that is the thing I am most compelled to see tonight. How many snaps those guys get, how they look, because Desmond Ritter in a preseason game could be a really interesting piece to run around, make plays, and score some points.
Yeah, for Detroit, good chemistry in the locker room. That's going to count for something. Their win total set pretty low, so if you want to get involved in the futures, maybe take a look at Detroit hitting the overs in their win totals. But Mike, you said that Atlanta are a bad team. I think you mean like bad, right? Now sometimes I use the word bad, like he's a bad man. That might blow when it comes to NFL talk. He's a bad man, but you mean like legit bad. They suck. So maybe stay away from the Falcons. Mate, let's turn to game 3. The Jets are taking on Philly. 2 young quarterbacks. We're expected to be there week 1. I'm not sure they're going to be out there this afternoon. Big news for the Jets this week. Becton, the right tackle, goes down, who's in line to protect Zach Wilson. This guy's had a horrid run with injury the last couple of years, and now looks like he's going to be out for the season again. They bring in Dwayne Brown to backfill Becton. But what do you make of the Jets' chances? And Philly, are they sneaking under the radar? Another pick 'em here this afternoon, 35.5 as your projected total between the Jets and the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't think they're under the radar necessarily. I think the Eagles are going to win that division this year. I think they're a really strong team top to bottom. Preseason top-ranked offensive line in front of Jalen Hurts, who has yet another year of experience. They added A.J. Brown, and they have some really interesting pieces on that team, obviously defensively as well. I think it's a good roster, and I think they can compete with the Cowboys, who probably did as little to improve their team as any team in the league during this past offseason. Just let players walk, had some a first-round draft pick that people thought was a little bit of a reach. They do need to reload on offensive line, so we'll see how Smith, the offensive tackle from Tulsa, progresses. But I just think Dallas didn't really do a lot to help themselves. So from the Eagles' perspective, I really am curious to see how they come along. The Jets, as far as Mekhi Becton is concerned, they've signed Dwayne Brown in order to try to help replace some of the strength on the offensive line. And with Elijah Vera Tucker and George Fant there, and now Dwayne Brown, I think it at least stops the bleeding. But, Becton's been hurt so much. He missed 16 games last year. He's going to miss 17 games this year. He's a first-round pick that the Jets can never extend now. A guy missing over 30 games in his first contract, and we're not even done with that first contract, says a lot. So next year would effectively be his last year in a Jets uniform, and I think they're already looking to replace him. He's just too injury prone. He's not in good enough shape, and it's shown, unfortunately. Dwayne Brown also could have a shorter-term suspension lurking, so that needs to be known as well. They need to keep Zach Wilson clean. I'm just really concerned about that still. I don't think they've fixed the problem of a leaky offensive line, but I would love to see him get out there. I don't know that, like you said, I don't know that we'll see him tonight. Good reports for him coming out of camp. He's got a lot of arm talent. I think he's always going to wow people. But on a night like tonight, I think I'll take the Eagles. I think they're just a little bit better top to bottom, a little bit better coached. I do have some concerns about the way the Jets were coached last season. Hopefully that improves markedly in year 2 of this regime.
Yeah, love it, Mike. And now we got one more game here. The Cardinals taking on the Bengals. Kyler Murray, Joey Burrow. Who's going to have a better season? Hit me with one, Mike.
Better season.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals will be more successful as a team, so I'll say Joe Burrow.
There you go. Mike Blewitt, have yourself a Friday. Keep it right here the morning after. Plenty more when we come back.
Funerals can be emotionally devastating for a family to go through, Besides the sorrow, loved ones are left with the high cost of arranging a funeral. Funeral Advantage was formed to help protect your family when they need it most. It pays your loved ones up to $20,000 immediately for funeral and any other expenses.
It's a good feeling to know that my family will be taken care of if anything happens to me.
Funerals can easily cost $9,000 or more, but government benefits pay only $255, leaving your loved ones to pay the rest.
It's so easy. Just answer a few simple health questions.
This is so affordable, even for someone like me who's on a fixed income.
If you're 40 to 85, get information on how to protect your family. Funeral Advantage is something we all need. There's no risk or obligation. Call now.
Get the facts about how easy it is to protect your family. Call 800-565-6178. That's 800-565-6178. Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from leading financial firm J.D. Mellberg. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-273-2815. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-273-2815. That's 800-273-2815. Call now.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Legzercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Legzercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Legzercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
Grid Network.
Welcome back into the morning after. Dubs Anderson here on a Friday morning, getting your weekend started right, filling in for my main man, Benny Stevens. We thank Mike Blewitt for jumping up and in this morning, talking a little bit of football. Again, 5 games coming up this afternoon. Get involved, be about it, don't be a cat. But let's talk a little baseball. And last night there was a lot going on. Just to recap some of the big results: the Diamondbacks 9-3 over the Pirates. The Rockies get it done 8-6 over the Cardinals. The Astros too good for the Rangers. The Royals beat out the White Sox. The Guardians edge past the Tigers in a 10-inning thriller. The Marlins and the Phillies run 3-0. But all eyes last night, Chicago Cubs taking on the Cincinnati Reds. The Field of Dreams, the second annual Field of Dreams game. We go to Iowa amongst the cornfields. And what a show this was. The Reds win it 4-2. Smiley gets the win on the mound. But this is what I like about baseball. So traditional. Everything they did about last night's game was fantastic. From the players entering from the cornfields behind the ballpark. I mean, what a ballpark. This is, it was down the road from where they shot the movie, the Kevin Costner classic Field of Dreams. The players walk out into the backfield. They've got the fans, the spectators out there throwing a bit of catch. Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. get the night started right by, hey, Dad, you want to play some catch? They throw it back and forth. I mean, it almost brought grown Dubsy to tears. Nostalgic night at the ballpark. It was a decent baseball game, but, I mean, we had 2 struggling teams, but the sport, baseball, stripped back down to its purest form, and I love to see it. Could we see more of it? I don't know. It would probably miss, that special feel if we keep seeing it once a year. I'm absolutely all for it. Drew Smiley got the win there by striking out 9 in 5 scoreless innings in front of a crowd of 7,800 people. Man, I would have paid for a ticket to that one. I mean, the Oakland Athletics, they still probably couldn't have sold that one. About everything we saw, from the scoreboard to the jerseys, the players. I mean, the players, this is what they grew up watching. Field of Dreams. Was it Kevin Costner's best movie? Don't know. He's made 5 movies with baseball. Are you kidding me? But his number one movie, of course, is Tin Cup, because your boy absolutely loves for a bit of golf. But it's now time to bring in my main man, Joey Miami, Joe Raineri, here on a Friday morning, the morning after Joe. And how good was that baseball game last night? Turning it back the clock. The Reds get it done 4-2 there over the Cubs, but special stuff from baseball.
I got to tell you, Dubs, it was the perfect cure for insomnia. It really was. Leave it to baseball to give us 2 of the absolute worst teams known to mankind in one of the most special places in all of baseball, right? I mean, the cornfields in Iowa, and you schedule us Cincinnati and the Cubs. I got to tell you, I was out like a light by the second inning. It was fantastic. Let's hope they never do that ever again, Dubs. Awful stuff. But from what I also understand, too, is it will not be there next year. And there is some question marks about whether or not it's going to be there in future years. So we might have seen the very last of the Field of Dream games with Major League Baseball in the middle of Iowa.
So I'm here pouring out my guts, Joe, saying how much I loved this game last night. It brought me to tears. Ken Griffey Jr., because Ken Griffey Sr. throwing the old baseball, but you're not here for it. I cannot believe this, Joe. I thought it was the sport done right. There's too much flashy stuff. All these guys making $400 million one, so get out of town. Pitchers getting $100 million. Last night, 7,800 people in attendance. Loved it. Maybe I'm just a sicko, Joe.
I'm all for the nostalgic, and really, no sport lives in the rearview mirror better than baseball, Dub. So trust me, I get it. And it was nice, and it was special last year. But, one of the ultimate problems with baseball and what we keep hearing is that the games are boring, they're too long, they're this and that. And then you gave us the White Sox, you gave us the Yankees, right? You gave us 2 teams with powerhouse players, big names, people who are even the casual baseball fans know. Dubs, I couldn't even name 3 people on the field last night on either of those teams. Like, you've got to be, who in the world? It looked like it might as well have been a AAA game in the middle of Iowa, because nobody knows any of those players on that team. Why? Because both of those teams are terrible. So I can't wait to see the ratings, Dubs, when it comes out. I guarantee you more people were watching the Tennessee Titan and the Baltimore Raven preseason game, which wasn't even on television, but I guarantee you more people were watching that than watching the Field of Dreams game last night.
Oh, I love it, Joe. Well, look, we've got a couple of big games coming up here tonight. Let's take a look at some of these. The Guardians, top of the AL Central, taking on second in the AL East, Toronto, the Blue Jays. Cal Quantrill on the mound, taking on Jose Berrios, 8-4 for his season, 5.19 ERA. Do any of these teams have your fancy, Joe? I mean, one comes in with a lot of form. The Guardians have won 4 of their last 5. The Blue Jays here, they've dropped 4 of their last 5. What are you looking for in this one?
Well, I'm looking for Berrios to continue his good ways there as far as pitching goes. But listen, Toronto, both of these teams are in a battle right now, because you have the Guardians who, they've been playing really, really good. The White Sox have been, mediocre as possible. And the Minnesota Twins have not been good since the All-Star break. So all of a sudden, the Guardians find themselves with an absolute shot of being able to take down the Central Division in the American League. And Toronto's in a battle. Toronto should be so much better than what they are. They continue to disappoint and underperform at the plate. I worry about the pitching, but I do think that both of these pitchers might have some issues keeping the scoring down tonight. So I might be looking at a over in this game tonight and expect that we're going to get a few more runs than anticipated, especially early against Berrios and Quantrill here tonight.
Guardians taking on the Blue Jays. Projected total set at 9. Joe Raineri's telling us hit the overs. That is all I need to hear to get my Friday morning started right. Let's take a look at the Brewers taking on the Cardinals, top of the NL Central. Two decent teams here, Joe, shaping up. Friday night thriller, if you will. Battle of the lefties. Lauer taking on Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery's been 4-3 for his starts, 3.53 ERA. Is Jordan Montgomery, did you put me onto this guy, Joe, a few weeks back saying that he's actually got decent stuff and I should be aware of him? Was that you?
Well, he was a Yankee, let us not forget, who came back in his first start. He was traded at the deadline, so the first start for the Cardinals, what does he do? He goes out and blanks the Yankees of all teams there. So they need some rotation help. They got Quintana, who's actually been pretty good for him, the Cardinals now. Now they've got Montgomery here tonight. I like him. I always liked him. I'm a little shocked that the Yankees actually let him go, but their issues seem to be more and more about getting the hits right now than the pitching. But the Brewers, another one of those situations where you had this division, you were in full control, and then what did you do? You got crushed. You're losing to teams you shouldn't lose to. You traded away your closer, one of the best closers in the National League, in all of baseball, in fact. You trade him to the Padres, and then your bullpen implodes there after the All-Star break. And now the Cardinals, well, they're right on your tail. It's basically a pick-em situation here, and I do think the Cardinals are the team to back in this one here tonight to get it done at home at Busch Stadium against the Brewers. I think the Brewers, I think they'll be fine in the long run, but man, oh man, they better figure out that bullpen, man.
Yeah, the Cardinals minus 160 to take out the National League Central. Again, we know where all roads lead to in the National League, Joe. Dodgers 10 in a row. I mean, talk about the hottest. I just had to clear my throat. You know, I like bringing up the Dodgers there, but the hottest team in baseball. Don't get me started. Let's talk a little Phillies taking on the Mets this evening. What do we got here? The Phillies 62-49 taking on the Mets 73-39. What have I got here? Are the top two? Ranger Suarez on the mound taking on Mad Max Scherzer. I mean, how good has this guy been? Career renaissance, Joe, if you will. Who do you like? The Phillies taking on the Mets this evening. NL East matchup. Philly 11 games behind currently.
Yeah, so we have, and you said it there, you got Mad Max Scherzer. Enough said. What else do you want? You have Kyle Schwarber, who had a calf strain yesterday and left the game for the Phillies. That is 30-some-odd home runs that you just removed from the Phillies lineup here. I don't think they have enough firepower. I mean, Ranger Suarez has been decent. The Mets have been mediocre against left-handed pitching. But all of that goes out the window if you can't hit Scherzer, right? If you can't get some runs against Mad Max, eventually they're going to get to Ranger Suarez, this lineup. I mean, the Mets are going to be a problem. DeGrom, Scherzer at the top. You got Carrasco. You've got a Mets rotation now that in a short series going to be very hard to beat anywhere. And they're hitting. Lindor has been fantastic. Pete Alonso, unbelievable. They are doing everything they need to do to go after your Dodgers there. I'm sorry, I was cleaning my throat. But they have to handle business at home tonight with your ace on the mound. There is no excuse to lose to a Phillies team that is less than potent offensively now with Schwarber being down.
Yeah, your Mets red-hot favorites tonight, minus 175 there on the money line. Projected total set at 7. It is a low one. What'd you make of Diaz? Just see his walkout music earlier this week, going out to a little bit of Timmy Trumpet. I mean, that makes the hairs stand up on the arms, Joe. This guy, he is a bad man. The Mets, they're dangerous, but I like him, and I like him. Diaz, he's got filthy stuff. Filthy stuff.
Mets are dangerous. They're playing great. I think that that whole sweep of Atlanta told you everything you need to know. I mean, it's coming together. Timing is everything, Dubs, in this world. And the idea that they got DeGrom back right around the All-Star break, right? Got him going. They bring him in. They just hammered the team that everyone thought was going to give the Mets all sorts of problems here. Not a whole lot of problems. And with Scherzer and DeGrom up at the top of that rotation and those bats, they're playing some defense, and you mentioned it. They got pretty much, they got a lights-out closer going on here. The Mets are not a team to sleep on. At some point, I hate to break it to you, Dubs, the Dodgers are going to have themselves a moment. They're going to go the other way a little bit here. They're not going to win 120 games. They're going to go through, a little something here over the next month or so, but I would not be paranoid. I would not be worried. The Dodgers are still the team to beat in the National League, but the Mets, they ain't going anywhere. In fact, they're only going to get better here as the season progresses and DeGrom gets better.
Yeah, look at the pricing here. The Dodgers plus 330 to take out the World Series. The Mets at plus 470. A loaded team, Joe. Loaded value as well. But knowing that you're a betting man, saying that the Dodgers will ultimately get it done, I totally agree with you. Totally Gonsolin on the mound this afternoon.
They better.
13-1 preseason starts.
They better get it done, Dubs, or I'm coming back
will.
here and you and I are going to have a conversation. I'm telling you right now.
Are we having words? Are we having words, Joe Raineri, here on a Friday?
I got money on the Dodgers because of you.
Hey, it's the smart play. Dubsy's the smartest man in the room. Joe Raineri, always a pleasure, old man. I'll see you soon. Keep it right here, the morning after.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-810-7576. That's 1-800-810-7576 now.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, and batteries never need charging.
I was having a stroke, and I was scared to death.
If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Life Alert is a lifesaver.
My husband is alive because of Life Alert.
Life Alert is the lifesaver to keep me out of assisted living.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-609-5506. That's 1-800-609-5506. Call now. 1-800-609-5506.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate. Take that first step and call now.
Grid Network.
Welcome back into the morning after. Happy Friday. Get the weekend started right here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Dubs Anson filling in for Benny Stevens. We just had Joe Raineri on to talk a little baseball. I cannot believe he wasn't all in on that Field of Dreams game last night. I mean, come on, Joe. Show a bit of emotion, if you will. The man's an absolute bulldozer. But hey, this is when we start to have a bit of fun, baby. Let's get the weekend started right. It is time for Buy or Sell. All right, buy or sell. Last night we had the football preseason, 2 games underway. The Ravens win 23-10 over the Titans. But let's talk about the Titans' rookie quarterback, Malik Willis. Third-round pick there from Liberty, goes 6 of 11, 107 yards, ran for 38 yards on 5 carries, runs it in for a touchdown. What did we like? What did we see last night? This is a guy with a lot of upside, especially amongst a team that is going to have questionable form, I believe, the Tennessee Titans. I really don't think they're going to have a strong season, so maybe that presents a bit of opportunity for Malik Willis when Ryan Tannehill, if he's struggling, if he's busted up, if he starts copping a couple of lumps throughout the season and they're not winning at a high clip. Malik Willis, what he showed us last night, he's got the speed, he's a dual threat athlete, great reaction time, great instincts, and that's what we're looking for. Amongst weaker company there last night, going up against second string, third string, you've got to be wary of what we're really reading into this. But what I saw from Malik Willis is plenty of upside, plenty of potential, which he's brought up from the college level. A kid who, if he's developed right, he could certainly be a starter in the National Football League. And I think it was enough to maybe have Ryan Tannehill looking over his shoulder as we move in to the early stages of the season. Again, the football season only a few weeks away. Malik Willis, a name to watch and to keep on your radar. Ryan Tannehill, he's not so safe anymore. But hey, how good is it to have football back, baby? 2 games there last night. The Giants getting it dusted up the Patriots. And again, 5 games this afternoon. Sports betting, baby. It doesn't get any better than this the morning after.